I'm Matt with eTrailer. If you have a 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander and you really want to maximize your cargo capacity, then the eTrailer Cargo Carrier is going to be a great option for you. So let's check it out. And the reason why this is great for the Outlander is because of the amount of space we have back here. If you check it out, you'll notice this isn't a whole lot of room to work with, especially if you do have a full family back here and you're using all 3 rows of seating. And if you are taking one of those vacations, you're not going to be able to fit your luggage there. That's why this carrier is great, and especially for those vacation uses, where you do have the ability to fold this up to save more space while you're driving. As for how much luggage you're going to be able to carry, this does have a weight capacity of up to 500 pounds, so in most cases you won't exceed that. And it also is important to check what your vehicle and hitch is rated for so you don't damage anything. But I can give you a few measurements real quick just to see how much space we're working with. And that's going to be about 60 inches for our width. Our length is going to be 24 inches, and the height is going to sit slightly over 5 inches. Now, of course, you can stack items above that too. Now, it is important when you are putting anything in here to strap those items down. And you're going to have a lot of great anchor points to do that with. These rungs on the side are going to do you just fine too, even these thinner ones at this point. Now, what I wouldn't recommend using is, if you have any metal hooks, I wouldn't recommend grabbing onto this mesh, because what can happen is that could pull on here and warp over time. Something else to keep in mind is, if you are using those metal hooks, just watch out, because when it grabs onto any of these railings, it could take off some of that finish and make it more prone to rusting in those locations. And speaking of putting items in here and stacking them up, now you can stack items pretty high in here without making contact with your hatch. Now there's going to be some downsides to that. If you try stacking things up pretty high, you're going to start to block some of the stuff on the back of your vehicle, like your license plates, your backup camera, your tail lights. So if you want to avoid that, I'd recommend keeping it more to about 18 or 19 inches. And you should be good in most situations, because you won't block anything on the back of your Outlander. Now, of course, this does come with a tilt-away if you ever did need to stack something really high up. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to remove these 2 pins. I'm going to remove these safety clips real quick. Take out that first one, tuck it away. And the trick is to this is to kind of lift up on the carrier some, pull that pin out, and then let this drop down some. And now you can have it in the tilt-away position. And that's for, like I was talking about earlier, if you have those really tall items back here and you still want your hatch access. But to be honest with you, I don't think you're going to come across a situation where you're going to be blocked from using your hatch, because if we check it out, this is a pretty small hatch for the most part, and we really don't start like overlapping our carrier until about the 36-inch mark, which is pretty dang high, and I'd actually recommend keeping things below 36 inches for more safety reasons. But we can get a few measurements just to see how this is going to live on the back of the Outlander. The first one I'm going to get is going to be our ground clearance, and that's going to be at 13 inches. So something to think about too is when you are loading this up, that of course is going to drop down by maybe an inch or two, just depending on how much you put in here. And which isn't a whole lot of ground clearance. I'll definitely keep an eye on it. Now, for how far it's going to stick out, we can measure from our back bumper to the end of the carrier. That's going to be just slightly under 39 inches, which is quite a bit. But something I do like about that design is it gives me the opportunity to really walk in between my carrier and my vehicle. So if I'm having to stack something or access any of my cargo from the backside, I can do that pretty easily and even adjust my straps. Now, once you're done with that and you have all your luggage out of here, they're in the hotel, you can actually put this into the folded position. And this is going to be more ideal for when you're driving. What I like about this too is we don't have to pull both of our pins now. We can just pull one. And you're just going to lift up on it, pull that pin out, and pull this to our vehicle till about it's in that 90-degree angle point. And the trick to this is just kind of wiggle it around a bit until you can get that pin through there. And now we can get another measurement just to see how far it's sticking out from this position. That's going to be roughly just under 13 inches. So that's going to save you a lot of space. Now there will be a downside to it being in this position, and that's going to be blocking your license plates and your backup camera. For that, I just recommend sticking to either using your back window or your mirrors. But on the bright side, we're not going to be blocking our taillights, so we should be good in that respect. And the way this is going to install is we're going to have this 2-inch shank, and that's going to go into our 2-inch hitch receiver. We're going to have an anti-rattle pin that goes through and connects to a nut. Now, something else I do like about this design is we have the sleeve. This sleeve is designed for when you are taking this on and off your vehicle, just to make this process a bit easier. You can actually adjust where the sleeve sits, so you don't have to struggle with trying to line up that pin. In my opinion, I think this is a great carrier to take with you on your vacations because, like I said, it's going to help give you a lot more space to work with, and it's going to have that ability to fold up once you get your luggage in your hotel. Now, if you're not really wowed by the folding option, or you don't see yourself using it because maybe you'd rather just store it in your garage, because one thing to think about with the folding ability, it's going to make it a little bit heavier, and it's going to add just a little bit more of a wobble to that because it has that pivot point. If that's an issue for you, then I'd recommend the Reese Hitch Cargo Carrier because it's going to have a rise to the shank, so it'll sit higher off the ground like this one, and it just won't fold. But I say this is more for those vacation uses where you don't have anywhere to store this when you're on vacation because you're probably not going to store this in your hotel with you. That was just a look at the eTrailer Cargo Carrier on our 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.